And welcome to this unboxing of the Anycubic Photon 3D printer. I received two boxes, the first of which is this one. Inside this box was the kilo of grey photo resin that I ordered. The reason I ordered the grey was because I paint a lot of this and it's just a nice base colour. In the future I may order one of the clear products for glass or water effects, anything like that I may do after. Let's say it's well packaged, but on to the next box. This is the main box. This has got the actual printer in it. Cracking open the box, first thing you find in there, when you eventually get it open that is the assembly instructions. Now I thought this would be a huge manual, but it's 3 A5 pages, so it really isn't a lot to it. They've made it very user friendly. Let's say you can get it up and running. Well, you'll see how quickly it is momentarily. The next thing, this paper can be used for leveling. It's going to be important later and you will see why. It's only a bit of paper, you can use any sort. Next up, the first box inside the box. Let's just get rid of the main box. This box has all of your accessories, any of the extra bits that you're going to use for it. First off, and quite importantly, power. The power adapter, depending which country you're in as to which plug you'll get. Next is some filters. That's for when you put your used resin back into the tub, just to strain out on any hard bits. Protective gloves. This stuff will stick to your hands and it stinks. Next, USB. This has got your test file. It's also got your manual and a couple of other bits on there that are definitely worth looking at. Next, we've got a plastic scraper and then a metal scraper. Anytime you need to use the scrapers, try it with the plastic ones first. Okay, 3 different Allen keys for different parts of the machine and an after sales card and a mask. I would suggest using the mask and use it in a well ventilated area, because as I say, this is quite strong, this resin, and it will get on the back of your throat. Another thing, as I said before, all the packaging is really good. Everything is tight in there and very well protected. Once more packaging has been removed and you finally get down to the next part, it is the lid. I was expecting something more flimsy and it's quite solid. Removes that bit of packaging. The only one thing that concerned me was there's a lot of small pieces of plastic from where it had been made. Remove these as much as I could, give it a wipe down. Obviously you don't want any of these going into your print, so if you do get one of these, just make sure you clean that out nicely, because I think it would be a bit of a nightmare if you did a nice print and then you've got a bit of plastic sticking out of it. Okay, so the next piece, 2 things hidden in there. Well, not hidden, but 2 things padded in there. First one I actually managed to get out is the resin vat. Exactly what it sounds like. This is where your resin will sit when it's printing. You've got a nice pour out there, so when you finish with resin you can pour it out easily. And then there's a little scale on the side just to give you a rough idea of how much resin you've got in there. It goes from 140ml to 240ml, so you can have a rough idea how much you need and how much is in there. Just be careful with that because the membrane on the bottom is very fine I think it could snap easily. Next up is the build plate. This is exactly what your images will be built on. Made of metal, it is quite heavy, so be careful with it. And finally, we've got the main piece. Everything unpackaged. It's time to set it up. Simply follow the assembly instructions, step after step. It's quite straightforward. It tells you exactly what to do. First thing, obviously, plug it in. The power socket's situated just at the back on the right hand side if you're looking from the front. It's shown here, and you can see near my right hand is the USB socket and the power button. First thing it asks you to do is raise the Z axis by 10 millimeters. First you go to Tools and then Move Z, press 10 millimeters along the top where there's the 3 different measurements, then press the up arrow so it raises it by 10. And there we go. It's pretty straightforward. Next thing it's going to ask you to do is loosen the 4 screws on the printing platform. That's the metal printing stage that we took out a minute ago. So just find the right Allen key, and there's 4 screws at the sides of it where it would connect the 4 screws. You can see the 2 there, and there's 2 on the other side. Enough that it can move freely. Once they're done, just slide it onto where that thumb screw is. Slide it far back as it'll go, and then tighten it up. This is where that piece of paper comes in handy, just to protect the screen at the bottom. So slot that in there. And now on the screen that we were, the Move Z screen, you just press the home button and it'll find its way to the bottom. Because you've loosened it off, it isn't going to press too hard. It will just work its way. Once it's stopped, what it asks you to do now is to hold it down and tighten them screws up. So now it's found where the bottom is. Once that's done, you go back to the Tools menu and press Z equals 0. It will say setting Z equals 0, press enter, and then it will say setting OK, raise platform now, press enter. This is just calibrating it. And then it'll just raise right up. Next is testing the screen. So on your tools you've also got detection. You've got a few different shapes. Just try them out, see if it's all opening up all right, see if it's playing. Like I say, you've got 3 different shapes, you can move them about. I just tried them out. Once you've done that, slide the vat in. There's 3 holes where, or indentations where the screws can go in. The middle ones keep it right where it's supposed to be. So just slot it into there and then screw it up, tighten it up. Okay, so next it's get your gloves on. Time to add some resin to it. So open it up, and I will say give it a good shake first. So once it's in, then you can start printing. Go to the USB and select print, choose the test file, and press the play button, and then you just wait. This is what it shows you as it's running. It shows you exactly the layer that it's printing on the screen. The bottom left is it's done 470 of 1400 layers. This is just the parameters. It tells you time remaining, layers remaining, required resin, and print progress. You got different exposure times and things like that. I didn't touch this. That you can all set on the software when you get ready to introduce more stuff. And then you've got a pause button as well. It'll also give you a rough time, how long it'll take. So yep, a little while later it's coming along. Okay, so when it's done, give it a little time to drip off. I've left this bit in because this is my first mistake with it. Removing the actual piece that you've printed out. It's a lot easier if you take the printing platform off. I mean, you can see I'm struggling with it here, trying to get it off, and well, you can imagine what's going to happen there. Once I did after this, I took the platform off, makes it a lot easier. And there we go, in the vat. So yeah, let it drip off for a bit. Once it's dripped off, and I've given it a quick wash in isopropyl alcohol. There we go. That's what you get with it. That's just the test one. So right, so now I've printed off a miniature from the Printing Goes Ever On website. It's a free sample one, but really impressed with it. It's all pre-supported. I'll put a link to their website. I definitely suggest going and have a look at that. Whether you've got a printer or not, definitely worth looking at. So once again, bit of isopropyl alcohol, wash it all off. That just washes the resin that hasn't set on there, all the excess resin. Get rid of that. I left mine sat on the windowsill for a little while. I've also got a little UV torch, so I'll give it a quick run over with that. I think I'll eventually buy the wash and cure machine. So that's the guy done. All them supports break off really easy. You've just got to push them with your finger and they break. I wish my camera was good enough to show the detail of these models because they are absolutely amazing. And then there's the base for it. Okay, so here's some random bits and bobs that I've been playing with and printing out. Obviously you got your test thing. That's what we did first. Looks pretty cool and it shows what it can do. Next I've got the dwarf. That was the one I printed out first. That's 25mm scale, but if you raise that by 15%, so up to 115%, you'll get a Games Workshop size scale. The 32mm. So there's your 25, and then I raised it up to 32mm. But I hope you can see the detail on this, which I don't think you will be able to. I'll try it with the light. I found the UV light actually showed it off a lot better. No, but you can actually see the tartan pattern on the kilt. The belt has a lot of decoration on it. I think I'm going to have to dry brush it just to get a bit of that decoration out so you can see it, because it's so fine. All the little dinks and things like that over the axe. Really is brilliant quality. For the kids, Little Among Us figures. Got these off Thingiverse. Opens up and it's a dead one. That was the first try. The second one, bit of a smoother lip to it. That was a lot better, and then it's magnetised, that one. Okay, so next I tried some, I think they're dollhouse cutlery, plates and things like that. I tried different sizes, scaling it up and down. They came out really well. Little plates, different sizes. Again, it was more playing about with the software. And the good thing with them, things like that, is because they're low down, they don't take long to do. This next one went a bit wrong because I left it and I ran out of resin in the vat. And you can see that's what happens. In hindsight, what I should have done is hollowed this on the software so it used a lot less resin. This one has gone a bit bowed. Don't know why, so I want to try and find out why. If anyone knows why, let me know. But yeah, this is all spaceship terrain. That's a full unit, so that's a corner unit. Again, this is all off Thingiverse. Just put them together, and then you've got little clips to hold the walls together. Put them in. And then flooring. You get different sorts of flooring panels. Again, all this stuff's free, so doorway, that one you slot a door into it. You got a one-piece door and a two-piece. This is a two-piece door. And then you can just print it out as you want and make whatever shapes you want. Try and get a bit of view here. There we go. The other thing I did was some little chain axes. This was to practice with the supports. I wanted to see how close I could go with the supports, what needed supporting, so I went a bit over the top with them, but it still came out not too bad. Learned a lot from it, and that's a big part of it, is experimenting when you first get it. I had some worse failures than these. They didn't even print out properly, so you know, you are going to make mistakes. It's just playing about, practicing and experimenting. Just find out what works and what doesn't.
Okay, so I'll leave you with some images of the dwarf I painted. Now he's painted up, you can see the detail in him a lot better. I've actually become a Patreon member of the printing goes ever on. Each month you get a load of new stuff and you get a welcome package. I've also become a member of Titan Forge. They're definitely worth checking. I'll leave the links in the description for both of them. Just have a look, see what you think. Anyway, that's it. I'm really happy with what I've got, and I'll be printing a lot more in the future. Thank you.